Okay, everyone. So now we're in the speaking section. We're going to look at part one, which is the interview of the speaking section. Now, in part one of the speaking section, the examiner asks questions about you. Now, the topics are normally related to your likes, dislikes, friends and family, what you've been doing recently, your English studies, how long have you been studying English, and so on. And there might be a question about the future too. Now, okay, so tips and technique. Now, in 2 minutes, try to write down as many questions related to the topics that I'm going to give you now, like your likes and dislikes. For example, what do you like to do on the weekends? Okay, your family and friends. Okay, a question there could be: do you like spending time with your friends? Okay, so what have you been doing recently? You can come up with questions on your own there. So some mini practice, okay? Try to come up to write questions related to these topics, okay? Now this will help you understand what the examiner will ask you. Okay, now here, this is a sample. This is a sample. Here's a sample of the questions you might be asked. Again, likes and dislikes. How do you like to spend your evenings? What do you do and why? So if you look at that, that's very interesting, because um, good. Let me give you an example of tell us about a film you really like. Okay, well, let's say, for example, you're asked that question and you say, well, I really liked Titanic. Well, that's not a really good answer now, is it? Because it was very short. I mean, remember, you are there to be tested on your English. If you give the examiner such a short answer, what can they test? You're not giving them anything to test, basically. So that's why some of these questions are here. Why? That is, if you give a short answer, the examiner then asks you why to speak longer. If the examiner in the interview asks you why, that's not good. That means you've not spoken enough. That's not good. Okay. So some more typical questions could be, do you like cooking, special occasions? Tell us about a festival or celebration in the Basque Country, for example. The media, this is another topic as well. Okay. Now, good. Some more tips and techniques. Prepare some answers to these questions when practicing for the exam. So that's why I asked you to write down questions related to these topics because you can answer them. Or you can go onto Google and you can look for FCE interview practice questions if you wish. Okay, so now the thing is you have to practice this. Okay, you have to look at the question or maybe ask a friend to ask you and you have to answer that question. Now, try to provide as much detail as you possibly can in your answers. It doesn't mean that you have to memorize your answers. Very important. A lot of students they try to memorize English phrases, sentences. You don't know what kind of question examiner is going to ask you. If you memorize answers for the environment and technology and transportation, and okay, and then it's the day of the exam, and the examiner asks you, okay, something about I don't know, fashion. You've not memorized anything, and then you don't know what to say. Be natural. Don't memorize things. Another thing, the examiners aren't stupid. I've been teaching for a very long time, and I can see when a student has memorized something. It's very easy to see. Please don't do that. Okay. So now, very good. So now it's very important for you to practice these things. Okay, remember, try to expand your answers as much as possible as well. We will look at a sample answer right now. Okay, so here is an example. Okay, so how do you like to spend your evenings? So here is my answer. Okay, well, I enjoy having some quality family time in the evenings. What better way to wind down after a tough day at work than with those you hold dear? It doesn't get any better than that. Okay, so don't memorize that. Please don't. Okay, that's just me naturally giving an answer there. But what you can try to look at here is the length. How long is my answer? That is a good length for an answer. Let's just say, hey, how do you like to spend your evenings? I enjoy having some quality time in the evenings. Okay, so now the examiner's got. Why? What do you mean? So that's not good. Give them a nice, full, well, long clauses. Okay, this is a good length. This is a very good length. Okay, so wait. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, hey, look at me. I'm asking you a question. I need you to reply to me. Reply in the same length. Here we go. Okay, so how do you like to spend your evenings? Yeah. Okay, so I don't know about you, but if I were a student, I would feel a little bit uncomfortable right there. That's the point. If you felt a little bit uncomfortable now, that means you have to practice. You have to practice. You have to speak. You have to find questions. They're very simple questions. You can get them anywhere online. Speak, record yourself. Okay, so now, okay, so this is a fantastic tip. Okay, so let's imagine now that you have a good length for your answer. Okay, that's not enough. You are there to be tested on your English. Give them everything you can give them. This is a more advanced tip and technique. Paraphrasing and using synonyms. Imagine the examiner asks you, do you like cooking? More naturally, do you like cooking? Okay, so now listen to my answer. Oh, most certainly. Cooking is something I'm rather enthusiastic about, but not as much as eating, though. I sometimes nibble on too much, and the end I lose my appetite. And in the end, I lose my appetite. Okay, so I don't want you to focus on my English there. That's not the important thing. But look at what I did. The examiner asked me a question of, do you like cooking? So I heard like. So what am I going to do? What can I do to impress that examiner? Okay, you can use other words. Don't just say, yes, I like cooking. No, you can say, yes, I'm keen on cooking. Yes, I'm fond of cooking. Yes, I really enjoy cooking. You can use synonyms to like. Well, it's difficult to have a synonym for cooking, but there are phrases that mean cooking. So this, in the moment, is not that easy to do, but it's still a very good technique. These examiners, most English teachers, are very, I would say, intelligent, okay? Because they ask you a question, not because they don't have anything better to do, because they want something from you. Okay, if I ask you a question, do you like cooking, and you answer yes, I'm very fond of it. It's like, whoa! I used like, you used fond of. Fantastic points. Okay, so let's look at some more. Okay, so instead of saying yes, I used most certainly. Okay, I used though for contrast. Okay, I used nibble on. Okay, instead of eating. Okay, so nibble on is like, it's like a little mouse nibbling on a cookie or a piece of cheese. Okay, I used rather, which is quite or a bit, instead of very. A lot of people are really, for example. Okay, so now let me ask you something. Okay, uh, a question here would be, for example, now, how do you enjoy your weekends? Okay, so that's good. How do you enjoy your weekends? Okay, so you could answer, I enjoy my weekends by spending time with my friends. That's a normal answer, no? Okay. So, or instead of enjoy, I could say, I have a great time with my friends and family on the weekends. Having a great time is the same as enjoying. So that's paraphrasing. Okay, that is when the examiner asks you a question. That question has words in it, and you change the words to answer that question, but not using the same words, but the same meaning though. Okay, so more tips and advice. Basically, these are some things you should avoid, some typical mistakes in every speaking test. Very brief answers. Okay, question. Where do you come from? I come from Rwanda, or I come from Madrid. Okay, well, that's fine in the street, but if you have an examiner testing you, you're not giving that examiner any information. Okay, so listing things. Okay, so this is not a good thing to do. Let me ask a question. What do you like to do on the weekends? Bad, bad. I like to be with my friends, to go to the movies, to play PlayStation, to get some take. You are listing things. This is not good. Don't list things. Okay. So now it's very similar to the next one, using phrases without subject or predicate. Okay. So tell me about some sports you like. Football or basketball, rugby. That's not a sentence. That is not a sentence. Okay. Or another mistake could be talking about unrelated events or maybe talking too much. Okay. So now, is your city a very touristic area? Well, now that the mayor is changing the whole transportation system of the city, a lot of people are finding it hard to get around. Not related. Don't. No, it's about tourism. Speak about tourism. Okay, and leaving your answers unfinished. Okay, now this happens a lot, and maybe you don't even know it, but people do it very often. Okay, so look, listen to this question. What do you like to do on the weekends? Well, I enjoy spending time with my friends, family, and having a great time. Do you feel it felt unfinished? And having a great time. Point. Period. There you go. Finish. Alrighty then. So now more tips and techniques. This is very important, extremely important. Please listen to me carefully. Every question is designed to test your English ability. Now, the biggest problem I personally have seen with students is that they don't listen to the questions. They hear it, but they don't listen to it. Most students speak in the present simple and never get out of it. Let me give you an example. Okay, if the examiner asks you, are you going to do anything on Saturday? And then you answer, yeah, yes. I have some plans with friends to go and see a film at the cinema. Okay, so what's wrong with the sentence? With the answer? Well, it's in the present simple. That's not good. Listen to the question. Are you going to do anything on Saturday? I'm asking you that question. I want to see if you can use the future tense for plans or intentions. In the answer, there is no future, there is no intention. Wrong answer. Yes, it sounds okay, but it's wrong. You're not giving me what I want. Okay, so now, well, that's what I just said. Examiner don't ask questions because they care. It's because they want to see if you can use the present continuous for future plans correctly. Correct answer. Instead of, yes, I have some plans with friends to go and see a film at the cinema. Instead of that, well, actually, I do. I'm going to see a film with some friends of mine. There you go. I'm going to see. That's what I want. That's what the examiner wants. If you do that, point. Okay. Now, or tell us about a television program you have seen recently. Listen. Tell us about a television program you have seen recently. Here they want to know if you can manage the present perfect or even possibly the present perfect continuous. If you say, I am watching the Game of Thrones and I love it, it suggests that you failed to understand and answer the question correctly in exam format. Okay, so question again. Here it is. Tell us what you have seen. You have seen. It's the present perfect. It's the past connected to now. So the correct one would be I've been following. I've been watching a new series called The Game of Thrones and I love it. Great. Or and I'm hooked like a fish. You love it. Okay. So now, very good. Okay. Good. So look at these questions below and what do you think? What do you think the examiner wants from you? Okay, what do you think these questions are designed to test you? Okay, so I'm going to ask you these questions. Okay, now let's look at them. The topic is work and study. Okay, so do you use the internet to learn new things? Okay. Do you prefer working on your own or with other people? Try to understand what it is the examiner wants from you. What kind of work would you really like to do in the future? Can you remember your first English lessons? Would you prefer to work for a big or small company? So, all these questions, okay, they're designed to get something from you. Can you give that to them? Can you give it to me? Okay, let's go. Okay, so now we're going to go back quickly. Okay, so let's look at it. Okay, now to start from the bottom back up. Would you prefer to work for a big or small company? If you say yes, I want to work for a big company, not good. Or yes, I'm interested in working for a big company, not good. What do I want? Okay, yeah, I would prefer. You can copy that, that's fine. If you can't paraphrase, copy the structure. I would prefer to work for a big company because there's more job security and there's a chance to climb the corporate ladder. Okay, for example, can you remember your first English lessons? Look at number 4. What do I want from you? Can you remember your first English lessons? Yes, I can remember my first English lessons. It's a very long time ago, but I can remember very happy moments with my teacher. Everything I said was in the present simple. Wrong. Can you remember? I'm looking for the past. Yes, I can remember them. They were a very long time ago, and I used to have a fantastic time when I learned English in class. I'm asking you about something in the past. You give me the past. Next one, number 3. What kind of work would you really like to do in the future? In the future. Yeah, okay. So very good. So now, okay. So if you say, I want to be a doctor, I would like to become a doctor. Okay, or I hope I will be a doctor one day. Give me the future, please. Okay, so that's the main idea of what the examiner asks you and what you need to give them. More importantly, what you need to give them because they want something from you. Okay. Now, practice makes perfect. Okay, so try to get a friend, okay, or a teacher to ask you questions and you practice. If you can, try to record yourself as well. Okay, so now that's it for now. We're going to move on to the next section.